Imagine this. Your Xbox 360 alerts you that you've just received a message from an unknown sender. 3 words, written with the confidence of a god and the diet of a 14-year-old. 1v1 me, bro. Your heart rate spikes. Your palms begin to sweat, and before you can even process what's happening, you're loading into a familiar landscape to prove your ego. You find yourself in an arid wasteland of twisted steel and sun-bleached sand. A suffocating orange haze hangs in the air. Metal clangs in the distance. The wind kicks up dust as if the desert itself is sizing you up. You have just loaded into the most iconic proving grounds in online history. A space no larger than a basketball court, yet carrying the weight of a stadium. A cage made of rusted pipes, narrow paths, and a towering central oil rig that tempts you to climb higher. You select your favourite loadout, a silenced UMP-45 with akimbo G18s, marathon, lightweight, and ninja as your perks. Now the question hits you. Do you risk everything for high ground, scaling the oil tower in hopes of claiming instant dominance? Do you hug the left lane, ducking beneath a retired shipping container for safety from above? Do you sprint right, challenging your opponent head-on in a test of raw ego and reflex? Or are you the Timmy who tucks into a corner praying for a miracle shot with his quickscope sniper? Better decide fast. The timer just hit 0. This is not just a match. This is Rust. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 exploded onto the scene in 2009, following the unexpected meteoric popularity of its predecessor, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Expanding on the fast, class-based multiplayer shooter, Modern Warfare 2 pushed the franchise to even greater heights, thanks to its ability to polish, expand, and retain what made the first title successful. One of those expansions came in an unexpected form, a simple map known as Rust. Rust was not intended to be the centerpiece of the new title, just a small and punishing CQB map included in the initial launch. Little did Activision know how popular this tiny arena would become. Soon, Call of Duty lobbies were filled with screaming teenagers fueled by Mountain Dew, Doritos, and endless free time. While their parents fought to pay the mortgage during the economic recession, these teenagers fought a different kind of battle. Trick shots, glitch hopping, edgy music, and lobbies filled to the brim with colourful language propelled gaming into a new golden era. At the forefront of this chaos stood a new poster child, Rust. Rust stood out immediately. It was compact, intense, and unpredictable. Respawns were so frantic that players seamlessly bounced between alive and waiting to spawn. The central tower offered instant dominance, yet climbing it made you an easy target for anyone watching. High risk, high reward. A moment many remember would cause both their teeth and cheeks to clench as their back was exposed to the entire map with no ability to defend themselves. The ground lanes rewarded speed and aggression. The centre, although simple, provided shortcuts and face-to-face moments that tested reflexes. It was a map that demanded confidence, aggression, and above all, nerve. Loading into Rust Rumble felt like stepping into pure chaos. Grenades exploded within seconds, bullets whizzed overhead, kill streaks stacked faster than your brain could process. And yet, despite the mayhem, players kept returning. Everyone remembered the time they clutched a streak in the final seconds, the moment they climbed the tower and held it against all odds, the time they embarrassed an entire lobby with nothing but a throwing knife. It was here, in this mosh pit of misery and pride, Rust became the birthplace of grudges, rematches, rivalries, and friendships forged through mutual suffering. For millions of players, being 15 years old and loading into Rust felt like walking into an arena built just for them. Loud, sweaty, unfair, unforgettable. And it was only the beginning. As the haze of dust from Rust lobbies settled into normal rotation, something unexpected emerged. The community began treating this tiny, chaotic meat grinder of a map as more than just an XP farm. Rust became the place to settle disagreements of skill, And from this new era came the iconic phrase, "1v1 me bro." Like wildfire, this challenge spread across Xbox Live parties and became the universal call-out at the end of any match to prove dominance. If an argument broke out in Search and Destroy, without hesitation, someone would say it. No one needed to mention the map, that part was understood. Rust would crown the better player. Accuracy, map knowledge, movement, strategy, all merged together on this unforgiving arena. Some players walked away with pride intact, others walked away muted. From casual players to future professionals, nearly everyone would eventually be tested in a Rust 1v1. But what elevated Rust above every other map? Maybe it was the legendary trickshot montages by FaZe clan players. Maybe it was simply the small size that guaranteed chaos. Either way, there was no better place to 1v1 than Rust. Friend against friend, clan against clan, father against son. Soon these duels flooded YouTube, serving as permanent bragging rights for the victor. At the same time, famous MLG-style edits were everywhere. Quickscope montages, hitmarker spam, snipers attempting absurd trick shots from the highest platforms on Rust. Double YY, 360, reverse 360, no scope final kill cams. A generation of players dedicated hours to filming a clip that lasted only seconds. So whether it was a 1v1 duel or a trickshot montage, Rust dominated YouTube. Each video set to EDM or alternative rock, each one drenched in hit markers, slow motion and adolescent intensity. This was the era when gaming was less about esports and more about mythology. Every friend group had their own legendary Rust movement. Rust was no longer just a map. It became a rite of passage, a place where skill was tested, a place where reputations were made, a place where, for a brief moment, being good at a video game felt like being good at life. For many of us, the greatest lessons in confidence, humility, competitiveness and ego did not come from sports fields or classrooms. They came from a 2-minute duel on a map made of dust and rusted metal. Rust was the smallest arena in gaming history, yet somehow it produced some of the biggest legends. As the years rolled forward and new Call of Duty titles arrived, Rust refused to fade. Most maps are forgotten when a franchise moves on, but Rust was different. It resurrected itself again and again, as if the gaming world could not imagine a future without the arena that shaped an entire generation of players. The first return came as an Easter egg in Advanced Warfare. Although Rust was not playable, one of the DLC maps featured a small homage outside its perimeter, a layout of familiar structures built from game assets, a quiet nod to the legend. The next resurrection arrived in Infinite Warfare in 2016. Although the map was not directly named Rust, the layout of XS was unmistakable, a futuristic rooftop echoing the close quarters chaos only Rust could provide. Updated graphics, same energy. Players once again took lanes, farmed XP and called in their kill streaks with a familiar rhythm. Then, in 2019, Call of Duty delivered the return fans had begged for, a true remake of Rust in the rebooted Modern Warfare. A mirror of its former self, now with a decade of visual upgrades, back to the desert and its iconic yellow hue. Once again, you could arm yourself with a suppressed UMP and sprint up the tower like it was 2009. Modern Warfare 2022 brought Rust back again. No major changes, no gimmicks, just preservation. The developers understood that Rust did not evolve because it didn't need to. Beyond the official remakes, Rust's influence spread far outside Call of Duty. Its design became the blueprint for countless small-scale maps. Fortnite creators built Rust Islands, Roblox developers recreated it piece by piece, Minecraft servers hosted full Rust dual arenas, sometimes faithful, sometimes playful, each one a tribute. Even within Call of Duty, spiritual successors attempted to capture its lightning. Nuketown, Shipment, Shoot House, Dome, all carved out their own identities. Nuketown came closest in notoriety and even influenced real-life paintball fields. But when it came to a pure 1v1 ego challenge, Rust remained king. Rust joined the pantheon of iconic video game maps. Dust 2 from Counter-Strike, Blood Gulch from Halo, maps so recognisable that even players who never touch the game can identify them instantly. Whether recreated in new engines, redrawn block by block in Minecraft, or re-released with every new generation of Call of Duty, Rust lived on in every iteration. Simple enough to copy, meaningful enough that every recreation felt like a tribute. Rust was the ultimate test, the original arena, the birthplace of legends. Even after more than a decade and multiple generations of consoles evolving, Rust never lost its relevance. It remained one of the default battlegrounds for proving a player's skill. The phrase "1v1 me bro" survived long past its Modern Warfare 2 origins, becoming a permanent fixture of gaming culture. But nothing demonstrated Rust's lasting influence more clearly than what happened in 2024. During FaZe Clan's 14th anniversary event, two icons of the early gaming era, Nadeshot and FaZe Banks, agreed to face off in a Rust 1v1. It was not just a match, it was a generational moment. For weeks leading up to the event, social media buzzed with anticipation. Fans who had grown up watching their videos were now adults, yet the announcement triggered the same excitement they felt as teenagers loading into public lobbies. Gathering millions of views across platforms, these two titans stood on the same sand and steel that once shaped online childhoods across the world. They showcased the true weight of a quickscope 1v1 on Rust. What made the moment special was not the gameplay, but what it represented. After 15 years of gaming evolution, battle royale explosions, esports arenas, and high-budget productions, the community still chose Rust as the ultimate place to settle a score. The aftermath only cemented its legacy. Clips flooded social media, reactions, remixes, and commentary videos circulated for weeks. Younger players who had never touched the original Modern Warfare 2 suddenly understood why Rust mattered. For older players, it felt like a reunion, a reminder that no matter how much gaming changes, some traditions never fade. And here we are, more than 15 years after the original release, still reflecting on and measuring the impact of this single map. Whether it's for TikTok challenges, friendly duels, or nostalgic rematches between streamers, Rust's simplicity, its verticality, and its unforgiving layout continue to make it the home for gamers today and in the future. And even now, long after that first climb up the central tower, Rust continues to stand as gaming's greatest arena. A tiny map that produced legends, settled grudges, and united a generation in one unforgettable question. You trying to 1v1 on Rust?